Welcome to the Real News Network. I'm Shir Hever in Germany. The Left Party in Germany has an unusual position on the issue of Israel-Palestine. Compared with most left parties and movements in Europe, the party is reluctant to criticize Israel's policies of occupation, apartheid and colonialism. Hermann Dirkes is an activist in Die Linke, the Left Party of Germany, and a member of the City Council of Duisburg in Germany. He was a long-time worker in the steel industry and a well-known trade unionist, and today he is a pensioner. He spoke in a conference in Stuttgart on May 9th, a conference in which I also took part.
Ich bin davon überzeugt, dass uns eine besondere Verpflichtung daraus erwächst, dass in deutschem Namen mit dem Völkermord an den europäischen Juden eine Menschheitstragödie angerichtet wurde. Die Shoah oder auch nur ähnliche rassistische Ausgrenzung, Gewalt und Vernichtung darf sich nicht wiederholen. Das war Konsens der Überlebenden. Nur an Auschwitz und Buchenwald erinnern. Und zwar nirgendwo und gegen niemanden. Und wehren wir den Anfängen, bevor es wieder zu spät ist. Aber diese Verpflichtung muss universell wahrgenommen werden. Die Vertreibung und ethnische Säuberung, insbesondere der arabischen bzw. palästinensischen Bevölkerung, das ist auch der große Unterschied zum südafrikanischen Apartheidsystem, um Raum für die eigene Bevölkerung zu schaffen, die demografische Mehrheit zu sichern und jeden Versuch der Eigenstaatlichkeit eines kolonisierten und entrechteten Volkes zu unterdrücken. Ausgeprägte strukturelle Ungleichheit bei den Grund- und Zivilrechten bis hin zu sozialräumlicher Apartheid von Ethnien und/oder Glaubensgemeinschaften, die als fremd und minderwertig stigmatisiert werden, hier insbesondere der Islam, aber nicht nur. Selbstdefinition als Schutzwall des Westens gegen die arabisch-muslimische Welt. Der Anteil religiöser Rechtfertigung und die nationalreligiösen politischen Formationen haben dabei in den letzten 3 Jahrzehnten enorm zugenommen, obwohl in Israel schon immer der Satz galt: Du brauchst gar nicht an Gott zu glauben, du musst nur daran glauben, dass er Palästina den Juden versprochen hat. Das heutige Israel ist nicht nur ein Ergebnis des zionistischen Kolonialprojekts, sondern auch ein Instrument seiner weiteren Expansion.
Hermann Dirkes will speak to us about the special political situation in Germany in which even the left is reluctant to criticize Israeli policies. Hello, Hermann.
Hi, Shir.
So how did you become interested in the issue of Israel and Palestine, and what kind of activities did you take once you become involved?
Well, already as a political leftist activist since the early 70s, one of my most important political teachers was the Jewish socialist and trade unionist Jakob Moneta, a kibbutz worker in the 40s, until he went back to Europe, disgusted by Zionist politics, and who died last year at the age of 98. I had the pleasure to meet activists of the then Matzpen organization in Israel, like Yankel Taut from Haifa, and many others. Nowadays, I'm working with Christians, humanists, leftists, and exiled Palestinians in the German Palestinian Society. I have been to Israel and Palestine various times, at last in 2011, when I organized a group of 30 friends participating in a seminary of the AIC in Jerusalem and Bet Zahur. I have been to various social forums from the outset in 2001, where the question of Israel-Palestine was always an important issue on the agenda. I took part in the discussion to clarify the programmatic positions of the party Die Linke, the left, toward Israel-Palestine. Published many articles, published a book, and gave interviews.
You said it was important to clarify the position of the Linke Party on Palestine. Why is that important? Is there a special reason why the German left should take a position on the Palestinian struggle for freedom? Or is it just that Germany, like any other country, should adopt a coherent position?
No, absolutely no. We have the historic burden, the Judeo-side, and a certain obligation for the left. Even nowadays, you can jump out of history and you have to work on it. And Germany is one of the most important states with trading with Israel. Germany is delivering many arms to Israel, and even Israel is selling arms to Germany, security installations and so on. And Germany, as a very important state of the European Union, is massively interfering in what's going on in the Middle East. And so, as a leftist, you have to tackle that question and you have to take a position.
You are a member of the left party, Die Linke. What can you tell us happened to you specifically after you expressed your opinions and because of the actions that you took?
I was confronted with a horrible smear campaign in spring 2009 after a local meeting on Palestine and on the Gaza onslaught of the Israeli army. In that meeting, we presented Mohammed Al-Attah's film, The Iron Wall, and I spoke out in favor of BDS. At that time, I stood as the left candidate for mayor in our city of Duisburg during the municipality elections. A real tsunami of vicious attacks, slanders and threats came down on me. This was a very hard time for me. But the worst thing that happened was that a considerable part of high-ranking members of the left took their distances from me and accused me of encouraging anti-Semitism, if not being an anti-Semitist. For many weeks, there was a public stoning in the mainstream media in Germany and by many mainstream politicians, some church leaders, and so on. And in the end, the whole party was finally slandered as being anti-Semitic, or at least tolerating anti-Semites in its ranks. Members of the inner party sect Shalom, real hardliners defending Zionist Israel and militant anti-Muslim propagandists, tried to oust me from the party.
Now, the chairman of the party, Gregor Gysi, he formulated this document for Die Linke defining what the position of the party should be on the matter and also defining what kind of activities should be called anti-Semitic. Can you talk a little bit about this letter?
Not only about the letter, and I even wouldn't personalize the question on Gregor Gysi alone. It still seems to be a common position among many more or less prominent party leaders and parliamentarians not to criticize Israel, at least not too harshly. In 2009, after this horrible smear campaign against me and more comrades like Norman Fest and comrades in Bremen and so on, both the parliamentary faction and later the party leadership voted for very problematic resolutions upholding a kind of equidistancy between Israel as an oppressor state and the Palestinian people as being oppressed. In 2010, one more resolution was whipped through by Gregor and others against the protest of at least 1/3 of our parliamentarians in the federal parliament, not to support the BDS campaign, not to take part once more in the Gaza Freedom Flotilla from 2011 on, and not to engage in one-state discussions. In the new party program adopted by the Erfurt conference in late 2011, the mere discussion of amendments to the draft program was suppressed as to whip through positions like we fight against any kind of anti-Semitism, the left is in particular obliged to defend the right of existence of Israel, and we should strive for a two-state solution as the only way to solve the conflict.
So the left party in Germany is saying that there is only one solution, and they want to impose the two-state solution on the Palestinians.
That's the official position. And there is, in my opinion, no clear definition at all what falls into the category of anti-Semitism. The party members should not take action, utter ideas or join movements due to many statements of party leaders like Gregor and others, wherever they create the impression of being anti-Semitic or anti-Israel. BDS, the Freedom Flotilla, and the discussion about an alternative Palestinian or Palestinian Jewish statehood is regularly included in this way of reasoning. Of course, the main purpose of that kind of verdicts and resolutions is to silence the party, foremost that party who thinks different or is even engaged in the solidarity movement.
For our viewers who don't know, BDS stands for Boycott, Divestment and Sanctions, and it's a global movement to put economic and cultural pressure on Israel to end its colonial apartheid and occupation policies. The Freedom Flotilla is a movement which attempts to break the siege on the Gaza Strip by sending ships loaded with humanitarian supplies. Now, you're describing about the left party in Germany something which sounds rather unusual. We see in most countries in Europe and around the world that the left parties tend to be more in solidarity with the Palestinians, or at the very least more critical of Israel. And it's also consistent with left politics in general to take the side of the repressed and the weak. But why would you say that in Germany the situation is so different? Why is the left party taking this position of unconditional support to Israel, even to the point where they harass and attack members of the party who express solidarity with Palestinians?
The solidarity movement rightly so criticized this stance positioning of the party, including many Israeli peace activists and Palestinians. I am fighting with many others to correct this politics of the left party, but we still have a long way to go. In my opinion, one main reason for this kind of positioning is to prepare for a governmental coalition. If you nowadays in Germany will enter on the Land,
the federal state of Germany,
the federal states, or in the federation, a government, and you will have it together, let's say, with the Green Party or Social Democrats. This is one major point to unconditionally defend the security of Israel as the reason of state, as Angela Merkel put it in 2008 when she gave a speech in the Knesset.
Raison d'etat, the French term for a reason of state. So you're saying that the mainstream political parties and the right political parties in Germany already support Israel anyway, and the left is willing to adopt this position in order to possibly join a coalition government.
Yes, but it's also part and parcel of the politics of the Green Party, and it's still the main reasoning of social democrats as well.
Well, thank you very much for joining us, Herman.
Goodbye.
And thank you for joining us on the Real News Network.